Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Simple Steps to Maintain Balance and Prevent Falls seminar. This is our fourth seminar in our 2025 seminar series, and I guarantee it will be the most active one of all. Why? Well, because in a few minutes you will have the opportunity to join our expert instructor to get active with her, either standing or sitting, and learning how we can all get better about maintaining our strength and improving our balance. My name is Erin Olson, and I am privileged to oversee the Health Promotions Program with the Idaho Commission on Aging. I also founded and coordinate the Falls Prevention Coalition of Idaho. That's where all of this really started with our first seminars way back in 2020. It seems like it was forever ago in some ways and not that long ago in others. I want to congratulate you for making time to learn how to be more active so that you can prevent falls, stay healthy, and stay safe, all of which are extremely important for all of us. Next slide, please. Before you even ask, because you always do, I know you guys well, the answer is yes. A copy of the slides is available. It's actually available right now from the WebEx content panel. To get to that, you can view it by clicking the content panel at the bottom of your screen. Don't worry though, if you don't want to do that now or you can't find the option, it's not a big deal. All of the resources will be available on our website at www.aging.idaho.gov/falls, FALLS. And you will hear that website again a couple more times. So don't worry if you don't remember it right now. I'm sure you will by the third or fourth time I've said it in the next hour. Next slide, please. Along those lines, we are also recording this session. You can have access to it after the live presentation is over, and you'll receive a link via email when it's available. It'll be on our YouTube Falls Prevention channel, and that, of course, is youtube.com/ and then our hashtag is @IdahoCOA. That's the @ symbol, IDAHO, and then COA, which stands for Commission on Aging, if that helps you remember it, @IdahoCOA. That's actually our tag for all of our social media. So if you want to follow us on Facebook or any of those other social media platforms, please feel free to do so using that tag. Please also feel free to share that link for the recording with anybody you know that will be interested in the seminar, because getting the information out is the key to preventing falls, and that's what we want to happen. Next slide, please. So when you have questions, and we hope that you do have some, please put your questions into the chat. After our exercises together, we'll answer as many as we have time for. And our tech guru, Michelle, who is currently working stealthily in the background, is going to pose those to Julie at that time so we can answer as many as possible. Next slide, please. Now, we do not expect a technology emergency. Hopefully my video challenges this morning are the worst it will ever get. But then again, we never do expect them, and that's why they become emergencies, right? So basically, if either you or any one of us gets kicked out, we will simply log back in as soon as possible. And as far as our team goes, we will cover for each other until that can happen. Now, if for some reason we can't continue, we will contact you and let you know when we will reschedule the seminar, which we will do, unless we only have a few minutes left, and then we'll use the recording and call it good. Next slide, please. Today, we will have a short primer by me. You do have to listen to me for just a few more minutes, and then we'll get over to Julie and the fun stuff. Then I will turn it over to her, and she's going to give us a little information about balance, as well as the Idaho Fit and Fall Proof program that she works with. Then we'll get active and work through a series of exercises together that any of us can do, whether we can do so standing or maybe we need to sit. We're going to try to accommodate everybody's physical abilities here. Now, I'm all ready for that. I've got my weights and I've got my bands and I've got my mat, and well, hang on just a second. I don't need any of that stuff because all of the things that we're going to be doing today can be done at home with no extra need for any kind of special equipment. So again, we want to make sure that this is something that anybody can do from anywhere without the need for anything that we may not have access to. So after we get done with those exercises, we'll take some questions, do a quick closing, and then you will be off for the rest of your day to do whatever this wonderful fall day may bring for you. If that all sounds good, then let's go ahead and get to it. Next slide, please. A lot of older adults are simply afraid that if someone knows that they have fallen or have a fear of falling, that they might want to limit their activity. You know, it's not safe for you to be out and working in your garden or, you know, walking or hiking out in nature. And that's scary for a lot of people to think that somebody might try to kind of take away their independence just because they have an opportunity to fall. So out of concern that other people may have is really what puts the fear into most people about falling. Well, we want to eliminate that for everybody as much as possible because it is a reality that people fall. And all of our seminars are designed to help you reduce your risk of falling. And unfortunately, it's a fact that more than half of the older adults that do fall, even if they have an injury when they fall, don't ever tell anybody that they've fallen. And that can be just as dangerous really as sometimes the falls themselves. So before we get to strength and balance, let's get a basic understanding of how we define a fall so that we can all communicate clearly about them. Our definition is unintentionally moving downward, typically rapidly and freely without control, from a higher to a lower level. Now, there are three important parts of this definition that we need to really pay attention to. The first is that a fall is not something that we intend to do. Obviously, I don't think anybody would say that they meant to fall. Second is that for that short moment in time, we're not in control of our bodies. If we were in control, then we would not have fallen. I think that would be our choice. And third, we end up in a place that's lower than where we started. Now, that's usually where people get confused with the definition. What does that mean? We may be standing or walking. That's usually where we start. And if we fall, we may end up maybe sitting on a couch or unfortunately laying on the floor. Any of those things are true, and but it could also be that we're just leaning against a wall. So how do we know? Well, any of these is lower in space from where we started. I'm standing up straight and I trip or I stumble and, you know, I end up hopefully catching myself. But if I'm leaning against the wall to do that, then that technically does count as a fall. And of course, most of us understand that if we fall onto a piece of furniture or onto the floor, that that would be a fall as well. This is really important to understand because, like I said, we don't necessarily need to fall to the floor for it to be a fall. And it's not because we want to, you know, increase the numbers and say, oh, geez, we have more falls than we originally thought. It's because we want people to understand that if you are tripping and slipping and falling, even if you're falling into a wall, it's still something that we need to be aware of and hopefully be able to give you some strategies to prevent that from happening in the future. So, on the other hand, we can trip or slip without falling, and that really is the key to what we're talking about here. Strength and balance is important to allow us to recover from a trip or a slip and prevent it from becoming a fall. I hope that all makes sense. By the way, it isn't considered to be a fall if you are having a seizure or some sort of loss of consciousness. Then it's not a fall. That's a loss of consciousness, another kind of thing. So we don't count those. But because we need to be able to communicate clearly about falls, we need a clear definition. And now we have one. Next slide, please. So when you take a look at this list, can you tell me which ones are true about falls? And in case it's hard for you to read them, I'll run through them real quick. Falls, it's the #1 cause of accidental injury and death of people over age 65. It's the #1 cause of traumatic brain injury for any age group. 1 in 3 older Idahoans fall at least once each year. 1 in 5 falls causes a serious injury, such as a broken bone or a traumatic brain injury. Nationally, over 800,000 people are hospitalized every year due to a fall. The average medical cost of a fall in Idaho, $38,373 or more. Remember, that's an average. And falling once doubles your chance of falling again. What do you guys think? Well, actually, every single one of these is true, and many of them are specific for Idaho. And that is why we need to be concerned about falls and do all we can do to prevent having them. To assist us in that, we need to stay strong and have as good a balance as possible. So let me introduce you to our guest speaker for today. Next slide, please. I met Julie, I guess it was a little over a year ago when she became the coordinator for the Fit and Fall Proof program for the North Central Idaho Health District here in Idaho. She's passionate about helping older adults prevent falls. I know that about her. And I also know that she enjoys the socialization that people get from going to fit and fall proof classes. And we know since the pandemic that socialization is truly an important part of healthy aging. So Julie does both of these things through her dedication to the Fit and Fall Proof program, which she will be telling you a little bit more about. When she's not at work, though, she enjoys spending time with her husband and her 2 dogs in the outdoors. That, of course, is one of those common things that we find with people who choose to live in our great state. Even into advanced age, people can continue to enjoy things like walking their dogs and hiking or walking out in nature if they stay strong. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Julie, who is going to give you the benefit of her knowledge and experience with the Fit and Fall Proof program, staying strong, balanced, and healthy. Take it away, Julie.
Thank you, Erin. All right, so we'll start with the next slide. Okay, so how can we prevent falls? So Erin talked a lot about the problem that falls have, especially in our state, and just that it is a very common thing that is happening. So how can we prevent this? We can understand balance and what can impact it. We'll go into that a little bit. We can learn how to improve our balance, so that can help us from falling, and we can learn how to be active. So we'll get to actively practice that here in a little bit. Next slide, please. So I am by no means a health professional, but just some things that contribute to our balance on the physiology side of things. Some of these systems that impact our balance can be our inner ear, our skin, our vision, and our musculoskeletal system. So we'll go to the next slide and I'll give some examples of what those can be. So as far as vision, some things that can impact our balance might be blindness, cataracts, or glaucoma. Any skin issues might be an injury to our skin or neuropathy. So tingling in the feet, that can definitely affect our balance if we can't feel our feet very well. For musculoskeletal, if we have poor posture or if we have arthritis, that definitely impacts our balance and our center of balance, right? Especially on the poor posture side of things. And then if we've had a joint replacement, so especially knees and hips and things, if you're down for a little while and you kind of have to relearn how to walk and rebuild those muscles again. So that definitely impacts our balance. Health conditions, such as Parkinson's disease and osteoporosis, so that's thinning of the bones, those definitely contribute to our balance. And then our inner ear. So if you've ever experienced vertigo or dizziness, you know that really heavily impacts our balance as well. Next slide, please. So when we start improving our balance, it's just an upward spiral. So someone, for instance, could start with a limited gait, needing an assistive device. But once they start functional balance and strength exercises, we see that their physical function improves. They have less pain and better mobility. This goes on to just increase exercise and additional physical activity, and then their strength and their confidence improves. So we'll talk about the Fit and Fall Proof program specifically here on the next slide, and just some things that we've seen from participants and the benefits of exercising consistently. So next slide, please. So Fit and Fall Proof, which is what I coordinate here at Public Health, it's a statewide, so it's Idaho only, and it's an evidence-based falls prevention exercise program, and it is tailored for older adults, but it's open to anybody. So doesn't matter age, doesn't matter ability, anyone's welcome to these classes. Anyone can benefit. I know I for sure benefit when I go visit my classes. They're a really, really good exercise class. And they are focused on functional exercises, so strength, balance, and flexibility. We don't do any aerobics. We don't want to cause a fall, right? If we're out there doing jumping jacks or something. So we really just try to work on strengthening those muscles to prevent falls without causing any injury. We did just celebrate 20 years, so you'll see my coworker and I here in a second. When we demonstrate, you'll see our fun 20-year celebration, but it has been around for quite a while, which is awesome, and just shows that it does work. And then Boise State University has been the one kind of studying the program, and what they have seen where participants improve is when they exercise at least 2 or 3 times a week for 45 to 60 minutes. So that's what we base our classes off of. We offer them 2 or 3 times a week, and they range from 45 to 60 minutes. All of the classes are free or low cost. Out of the 20 classes that I have, I only have one class that charges a couple dollars per person per year just to cover the utilities for the space. Otherwise, we have a lot of great organizations, churches, community centers that let us use their space for free because they support the program so well. And then because this is an evidence-based program, we do a timed up and go test or a tug test to measure improvement. So that's how we got the times per week and the amount of time that we show benefit. And so at the beginning of a 10-week session and at the end of a 10-week session, we measure each participant's time that it takes them to go from a seated position in a chair to standing, walking 8 feet around a cone, and then back to a sitting position. So when we see those tests, it really captures they might be able to walk fine, but maybe they have a difficult time getting in and out of a chair. So when we see numbers decrease, that they're getting faster, that might show that they're getting stronger because they're able to get in and out of a chair faster. And if you are interested in classes and you live in Idaho, you can call any of your local public health offices and they can get you a class schedule. Next slide, please. So just some other benefits from the Fit and Fall Proof program. We have seen that participants get an increased confidence, their strength increases, their social interaction improves. Like Erin was saying, that's my favorite part of the class, honestly. I just love seeing how connected these participants get with each other. They see each other 2 or 3 times a week. When I go visit these classes, if someone's not there, the rest of the class either knows where that person is or 3 or 4 people have already called them to see where they're at. So I really love seeing that community and that connection, especially with older people that might be living alone or something. There's someone kind of keeping tabs on them and making sure they're okay. And then it does increase an independent lifestyle. So it's encouraging them to get out and do more things by themselves, meeting new people. And then it's also decreasing their fear of falling and their risk of falling. So because they're getting stronger, they're not at as high of risk of falling anymore. And just because their confidence improves, they're not afraid of falling as much. Next slide, please. All right, so here's where we're gonna move together. So I'll take a couple seconds to get set up real quick, and then if you have some water nearby, you might want that. And then my coworker and I will lead you guys through some exercises. I will show you the standing exercises, and then Anna here will show us the seated exercises. So do what is comfortable for you. And don't do anything that doesn't feel comfortable. So let me start my video here. Make sure you guys can see us. Okay.
And as you're doing that, Julie, I just wanted to mention that most people think you can't get a good workout while seated. And I just want to say absolutely not true. I do a seated workout once a week, and it's sometimes even more exhausting than a standing workout.
No kidding. Anna and I, when we were getting ready for this, I was showing her kind of how to do the seated exercises, and a couple of them, you know, they felt like you were getting more of a workout doing it seated than standing. So yes, I promise you will get a great workout, even in this short amount of time that we're going to do these exercises together. All right, so make sure your space is nice and clear. You don't have any tripping hazards, especially if you're standing. If you're using a chair, make sure you don't have wheels on it. We don't want it rolling away from us. All right, so we're just gonna do a few exercises kind of per each section that our classes reflect. So we're gonna start with a warm up. So we're gonna start in a march, and I'll try not to march loud so you guys can still hear me. And then we're gonna go into drum major. So one arm's gonna go across our chest and the other arm straight out to our side. And then we're gonna switch. So now our other arm goes across the chest and then just back and forth. And then we'll go into our rope pull. So we're still marching. And now you're gonna reach out in front of you like you're pulling yourself on a rope. Or you're reeling in that fishing net. Right, and then we'll go into picking apples. So we're gonna reach high above our head, act like we're picking apples out of the tree above us. All right, and then we're still marching, but we can march slower, and we're gonna tap our thigh. So tapping opposite hand to opposite leg, and we can put our other arm out to the side. Perfect. So anytime we're crossing over our center of balance, it's great for our brains. All right. And you can either keep marching in place, that's what we call home base, is just keeping our feet moving, or you can sit still, but we're just gonna do some shoulder circles. So just make some nice shoulder circles. This is always a favorite. Everybody needs to work out their neck. And then we can go backwards or opposite of what you were doing. All right, and then we'll take a break there. So hopefully everyone's feeling pretty warmed up. All right, and we're gonna move into our balance and strength section. So like Erin said, I'm showing you how easy it is to do from home. So we're not gonna use any weights or bands. So we're gonna do a few more exercises, but just know this is usually two different sections. So we're gonna start with a chair stand. So if you're standing like I am, we're just gonna sit in our chair and we're gonna rise up out of our chair, keeping our chin up, keeping our spine straight. If you're staying seated, what you can do to still benefit from this, you can watch Anna, but she's holding on securely to her chair and she's just slightly raising up out of her chair. And you should try to use the majority of the work should be in your legs, but have your arms there for support. So I'll do the standing. We're just gonna rise and sit. This is a great one to practice if you're just watching TV at home, whatever you're doing. All right, so that's a good one. If you really want to make it fun, what you can do is when you stand up, clap behind your back. When you sit down, clap above your head. That makes it kind of fun. All right, we'll go into the second one. So this is called the side slow leg lift. So if you're standing, what we're going to do is just lift one leg out to the side, and you can either have a wall or a chair next to you to support you. And we'll just alternate legs. And as you can see, Anna, she's still doing that. She's still changing her center of gravity, putting the majority of the weight on one leg. Okay, and then we'll do a soccer ball roll. So just imagine there's a ball under your foot that you're rolling around. So we're strengthening that leg that we're standing on. And we're also working that other leg that's doing some little circles as well. And then we'll switch legs. And then switch directions. And the most important thing is to try to stay standing straight up and down. We don't want to compromise our spine or any muscles just to try to do an exercise correctly. We just want to be mindful of that as well. So the next one is the stork. So we're going to raise one leg up in front of us to a 90 degree, and then put your arms out like wings of a stork. And if you're seated, you'll still feel that benefit. You'll still kind of feel the pressure that your base leg's doing. And then again, just making sure we have a wall or a chair next to us for support if we need it. And then we'll switch legs. Making sure we're breathing while we're doing this. I tend to hold my breath. Okay. The next one's pretty fun. It's called a marble pickup. So if we pretend that we're picking a marble up with our toes off the floor, we're going to bring it to our opposite hand in front of us. So our leg is bending, our feet or our right foot is coming up towards our left hand. And again, without compromising our back. So if you can't quite touch your feet, that's okay. I'm a couple inches from being able to touch my foot. So just practice that. And then once you do that a couple times, you go out to the side with your foot. So you'll touch same foot to same hand. That makes sense. And you'll just alternate back and forth. And then we'll switch legs, so same thing. Opposite foot to opposite hand in front of us, and then same foot to same hand. Okay, you can kind of shake it out a little bit. We're going to do the tandem tightrope walk. So this one is a really good one for balance. Again, make sure you have a wall or a chair, especially for this one. One foot in front of the other. The closer your feet are together, the more challenging it will be. So if you're spaced out more like a lunge, that'll be a little bit easier to start. But we're just going to hold that. So find a comfortable position and then just hold that foot in front of the other. And like Anna's doing, she has her feet that same way, but she's using her chair for support, and she's just barely rising out of her chair so that her legs are doing the work. Okay, if you can, try moving your feet a little closer, and you'll feel your feet really start doing all the work. You'll realize how many muscles you have in your feet. And then we'll switch. So put the other foot in front of the other. You'll notice sometimes different positions are harder than others. Like my left foot is definitely not as strong as my right. We can put our arms out to the side to help us with our balance as well. Okay, and then we can do that one. We're not going to do it because it's too tight of space in here, but that one is a good one to practice while you're walking. So you can find a line on the floor, or just look straight ahead and practice walking tandem like that. That's good practice as well. All right, and then single leg raise. So if you're seated, you're just going to lift one foot straight out in front of you. If you're standing, same thing. Just make sure you have something to support you if you need it. And then we'll switch legs. The other important thing, if we're standing and we're only putting pressure on one leg, making sure we're not locking that knee that's supporting us. We don't want it to give out on us and cause a fall. Okay, so there's our balance and strength. So now we'll head into the cool down. So we're gonna paint the rainbow. This one's kind of fun. So we're just gonna make an arch over our head with both hands, like we're painting a rainbow with our fingertips. Making sure we're taking deep breaths, reaching high, making sure we're not making a C with our spine or compromising too much. Awesome. Now we're gonna do, this one's called the modified triangle. So seated, you're just gonna make sure your feet are planted nice, and you're just gonna reach up with one arm straight above your head like you're trying to touch the ceiling. And then I'll try to show you with the wall here. If you're standing, you can push against a wall, make sure your feet are shoulder width apart, and same thing, we're just reaching straight up to the ceiling. Making sure we're breathing. And then we'll switch to the other side. Try to touch that ceiling. Perfect. Now we'll do a hamstring stretch. So if you're standing, you're gonna put one foot out in front of you, bend your stationary leg just a little bit, right? We don't wanna lock our knees. And we're just gonna lean forward a little bit, keeping our back nice and straight. Toes flexed. You should feel it in your calf and your hamstring. Perfect, and we'll switch legs. Make sure if you're doing what I'm doing and you're putting some pressure on a leg, make sure it's your stationary leg. We don't want to push on the one we're stretching and end up pulling a muscle or something. Perfect. And then our last one is the heart breath. Don't need to sit. All right, so what we're gonna do, I'll explain it first. I'm not trying to talk and breathe at the same time. We're gonna breathe in, arms go above our head. Breathe out, hands come down in front of us to our chest. We're gonna breathe back in, arms straight up, and then out, arms to the side. So in and out, hands come down, in and out, arms out to the side. And we'll do one more, in and out, arms, hands down in front, and then in and out. That's always a really good one to end, to make sure that we're getting oxygen back in our muscles and everything. All right, so that went kind of fast, but that's kind of a short version of what we do in our classes. So we can head on into the next slide and we'll finish up, and I'll let Erin take it away again after that final slide.
And while Michelle's getting that back up, all of those exercises that you just did are in the handout. So for those of you who downloaded it already or will download it later, the warm up, the strength and balance, as well as the cool down are all listed in there. So you do not have to remember it all.
Thank you, Erin. I already forgot about that. Thanks for reminding them. All right, so as you could see, all of those exercises, we didn't need anything. We didn't need equipment or anything to do those. You just needed yourself and a chair. So it really is simple to exercise at home. We just need to find the motivation to do it, right? I'm sure we all struggle with that. But once you get moving, you can see how good it makes you feel, and hopefully you can retain these, keep a copy of those exercises, and just do a little bit every day. There's also this slide that has some other exercises you can do at home, or even when you're waiting in line at the grocery store or for an appointment or whatever it is. But that top one there is a hip lift. So it's great to move those muscles. Those muscles are what helps you go upstairs or step up onto something. So all you're doing is holding on to something to support yourself, and you're just lifting your one hip straight up. So your foot's only going to come off the floor maybe an inch or so, but you'll really feel that muscle in your hips working to raise your legs. So that's a great one to practice. We know that when we're shuffling, that can cause falls. So if we get that muscle warmed up, that'll help us. You can also balance while you brush. So we all should be brushing our teeth twice a day, right? I hope with the dental hygienist as well. So got that in the back of my mind. But while we're brushing our teeth, for the first half, brush your bottom teeth. Or while you're brushing your bottom teeth, stand on one leg, hold on to the counter or something sturdy. And then when you do the other half of your brushing, stand on the other leg. So that's a great way to, you're already standing, you're sitting there anyway, so good to do a little exercise while you're doing that. And then the chair stand, we did that. That one's great to do if you're watching TV or a movie or something, or reading. It's good to do a couple of those a day. I know I have some classes that they aim for 100 squats a day, and those chair stands definitely count. So you can try to aim for that and do 5 or 10 at a time, and it doesn't seem as painful. All right. So that's all I have. Thank you all for exercising with us. That was a lot of fun. I hope you got a good little workout like we did. I know we're nice and warm.
Well, let's go to our next slide, and thank you both Julie and Anna for demonstrating that. And I think, as I say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and we talk a lot about you need to exercise, and people think exercise is, a bad word because it's something we generally don't like to do or don't want to do. But it really is just about moving. All of us have got to get moving, and we've become a very sedentary society in the United States, especially. And I know I work a job where, given my normal day, I could be sitting in front of a computer for 8 to 10 hours a day. And that's before I do anything, for my own personal time at a computer. And it just isn't good for us. So like Julie said, I personally have learned that I do walk while I'm brushing my teeth because those all count as steps. And if I'm sitting on the couch watching a TV show, I'll often just stand up behind the couch and again, just do some walking even in place because it all counts. So just move and remember that strength and balance and flexibility are what Fit and Fall Proof is all about, and that it really is a critical part of preventing falls. So with that, let's go to the next slide, and it's time for questions. So hopefully some of you have come up with some questions that Julie and or Anna can help answer for us. Michelle, do we currently have any questions?
We do not currently have any questions in the chat.
Well, hopefully we will resolve that. So any of you who are here and have been listening in, if you open up your chat panel, please type in your questions that you may have about the Fit and Fall Proof program, physical activity in general, exercising, and hopefully we'll get some in just a second. I did have a question that I wanted to ask. I have multiple sclerosis, part of which has balance issues. And so if I were to try to do like the tightrope stand, I would just fall over. Are there modifications that people can do for some of these exercises if they don't have good balance or don't start off with a lot of strength?
Yes, so the tightrope one, Anna kind of showed that one a little bit, but you could still sit for that one and put one foot in front of the other. That might be enough of an exercise without even lifting yourself out of the chair a little bit. So even just practicing that, but if you're able to put one foot in front of the other and just barely lift out of the chair, trying to use more of your legs than your arms. But that way, at least you're completely supported, right? You have 3 points of contact on something. So that would be a modification. Some of those are kind of difficult to modify, but that one would be a good modification. And I will admit, I'm not as great as our leaders that do this every day. So they get pretty creative with safe modifications as well. They're really great about finding ways to make sure someone can still move and get the same benefit.
That makes perfect sense. A
Yeah.
physical therapist I had once just had to remind me, because, brought up as a young lady, we were always taught to sit and stand with our feet close together. And she said, you need to put your feet apart. You're falling over because you're trying to stand with your feet. There's no reason for that. So widening your stance, and sometimes even though it's not the best for that type of an exercise, if we don't have one foot directly in front of the other, it gives us a little bit broader base of stability to work with. So usually there are modifications. And like you said, the instructors themselves who do this stuff every day are probably really good because they deal with people every day that have physical limitations with that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
Michelle, any questions yet?
We still do not have any questions in the chat.
Well, you guys know if you don't ask any questions, then I get to ask all of my questions, right? I happen to enjoy exercise very much, but I know a lot of people don't. And one of the things that we hear is they don't want to go to a gym, or if I try to do this stuff at home, I don't have things. And how do I get stronger if I don't have a set of weights? Are there things that people can use at home to kind of replace some of those things that people often think they need to buy in order to exercise?
Great question. I'm so glad you brought that up because I did mean to touch on that. I have seen people get really creative at home and use, most of us have cans of soup or canned vegetables or something in our pantry. Something in your pantry, find two of them that are similar in weight, and you could use those as weights. Um, if you're looking for resistance exercises and don't want to purchase a resistance band, you can use a hand towel. And I'm not great with terminology and things, but just the pressure that we're putting on a towel if we're trying to pull it apart, so to speak, you'll get kind of the same exercise and you'll still work those same muscles that you would with a resistance band. So great question. You can get really creative with things. And I did mean to mention that as well. We don't use, when we use weights and resistance bands, we're not going out and using 5 or 10 pound weights. We either use 1 or 2 pound weights. So you really don't need a lot. Just that little bit of weight does a lot. So great question.
Perfect. I have a person I know who likes to talk about, they started working with a woman, I believe she was in her 70s when she needed help with balance. And then by the time, oh, you know who it is? No, it's not true. Anyway, she was winning weightlifting contests for people her age, doing deadlifts and things like that, which I just think is, you don't usually think of a woman in her mid 70s getting into deadlifting with a lot of weight. But yeah, you're right. It's not always about, the people we think of at the gym that are pumping iron. It's resistance and weight. And I also like getting creative with what can I do. Another just quick example, I've started just doing laps around my house. I have a ranch style home, where bedrooms are on either side and the kitchen and living areas in the middle. And especially in bad weather or when I can't get motivated to go outside, I will just do laps around my kitchen. And again, they all count as steps, and I move from carpet to tile. So hard surface to soft surface. I go clockwise and then counterclockwise. And we can do a lot of things right from home without having to spend a lot of money, which I think is really important for a lot of people.
Exactly. I'm very glad you said that, because even just walking is so important and can help our balance, if we're walking a lot. So even just getting out and walking to your mailbox or whatnot. And yeah, like you said, walk inside if you have to.
And just do it safely. I like that you often mention during your demo, be near a wall or a chair. There's nothing wrong or that says you're weak or whatever if you need a wall for support. And especially when you're first starting, we don't want you to fall because you're exercising. That's counterintuitive. It's the opposite of what we want to happen. And so sometimes when you're doing like that tightrope walk, you might need to put your hand out and just have a wall you can touch on, to keep your balance so that you can practice those things. And I know that you guys do a lot of balance assessments, or at least physical therapists do, where they want you to stand on one leg. And we did some of those with the stork. There's times that tell you kind of how you're doing. And when I first started, I couldn't even get a couple of seconds on one leg before I had to put a leg down or hold onto the wall. And I didn't know, because people had always told me you can't do anything about your balance. Well, yes, you can. There are muscles related to balance. And by doing these exercises, you can improve your balance over time. So, it's like, what movie was that? I think it was Madagascar. Is it, you've got to move it, move it?
Yep.
So whatever that means for you, just start moving, whatever that means, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Michelle, one final check. Do we have any more questions?
We do have some questions.
Oh, good. Then I'll stop talking.
All right. Our first question is, if we know we have balance issues, how do we get a doctor to take it seriously? You have any insight on that?
That is a really good question. Yeah, and Erin, feel free to share um, your expertise as well, but just keep telling them that you're concerned about falling, and hopefully that will make them take it seriously. I know here in Lewiston, one of our hospitals is really passionate about lowering the falls that they see in the ER. They they just shared some percentages, and it was, I believe, like 80% or something of people that came into the ER, it was due to a fall. So I think just expressing your concern that you are worried that you may take, or you might have a fall, or you've had a fall, till they take it seriously. But I'll let Erin share too if you have anything to add.
Sure. You're absolutely right. First of all, our healthcare team, our doctors, our pharmacy, a lot of people should be asking us if we have fallen. And I know that once you reach the age, if you are on Medicare, they are required to ask you at least once a year about your falls risk. But I am not. I'm 50. I'll be 57 in a couple of months. So 57, but I am a type 1 diabetic since I was 5. I have multiple sclerosis, and I'm blind, all three of which put me at high risk of falls, not to mention all three of them put together. And my healthcare team, the people I would go see, including physical therapists, never asked me if I had fallen. And when I asked them why, they said, well, you're not old enough that we have to ask that question. And I just went, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So I do believe in personal responsibility. If you are concerned about falls, bring it up to your healthcare team. Say, I am concerned about my balance and I don't want to fall. Can you refer me to somebody? And hopefully they will refer you to at least a physical therapist. But honestly, that's one of the things that the Falls Coalition is trying to do, is to make sure that our healthcare providers know that there are other kinds of things like the Fit and Fall Proof program that they can be referring people to, that it's not just a medical issue per se, like you have to go to a physical therapist, but that there are programs and there's education about all kinds of things for falls prevention. So always make sure that you're an advocate. If you ever have any concerns about your own health or safety, bring it up. And honestly, this is just my personal opinion, not the opinion as a state employee or anything else, but my personal opinion. If your doctor doesn't do something when you say, I'm concerned about falling, maybe you need to find a different doctor. That'll probably get me into a lot of trouble. So we'll cut that part out of the recording. Michelle, were there any other questions?
Yes, our next question is, are these exercises that were demonstrated as effective when done in the pool?
So that's a great question. I know they haven't studied that, so I can't speak on that part. I know I have some leaders that also teach aerobic classes in the pool. So I know that exercises in the pool are effective as well. I just can't speak on whether these same exercises in the pool would be as much of a benefit. But definitely, as long as you're moving, I think that's great.
Absolutely. And what the pool does provide is that resistance. So we talked about resistance bands or pushing against a towel. Being in the water provides resistance. So maybe if you can't do an exercise with a resistance band and you can do it in the pool, that's excellent. What the pool does not do, and this is something that I had to learn actually from a person who did one of our other seminars called Preventing Falls as a Weighty Matter, is that doing things in the pool, swimming, is not as weight bearing as doing it out of the pool. And again, if that's the only way that you can be active, then by all means start there. But we do need to have weight bearing exercise. And Julie and I both talked about just walking. Walking is weight bearing. If you think about, you're kind of putting down your foot and your weight onto that, that's great. But swimming and water aerobics and things don't do quite as much for that, but they do add resistance. So everything is good as long as you're moving. Do we have another one, Michelle?
We do not. That was the only questions we had.
Well, they were very good questions. So good
They
things
were.
come to those who wait, right?
They're very good questions.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and move on to our next slide, Michelle. I just wanted to remind you that our area agencies on aging, or our AAAs, there are 6 around the state, and they are really the boots on the ground when it comes to aging and helping people age well. So you can contact any one of those area agencies on aging, and they can help you not only find a fit and fall proof class and refer you to those people, but they also can help you with things like transportation, congregate meals, what do your senior centers provide? Do you need help with maybe some, if you're a caregiver, taking care of a spouse or a family member? Do you need some respite or some assistance with caregiving? Do you need some things done around your house to make your home more safe? Maybe installing grab bars. We have either these programs internally, or we can certainly refer you to other people outside of the area agencies on aging that can help you with those types of needs. Next slide, please. Well, finally, and I hate to say that we're already out of time, but time flies when you're having fun. We want to, of course, thank all of the people that have to come together to make all of this happen. And first of all, that does include you, the people who made the time to come and spend with us today, learn a little bit more about being physically active. Remember that all of the things that Julie demonstrated and talked about are in the handout. You'll also be able to review the video where she's actually going through the exercises. So several different places that you can get that, or you could go sign up for a Fit and Fall Proof class. But we definitely appreciate your being here. We can't do it and wouldn't do it without you. Next, of course, is our expert, in this case, our two experts that were here today. Even though, Anna, we didn't get to hear you talk, but we know you're there and you were in the chair doing the exercises. Sometimes, like we said, they're a little more challenging even from a seated position than a standing position. But to both of you, thank you for your time and your expertise as we went through this. And I never, ever want to leave out my colleague, Michelle, who has been our technical goddess working behind the scenes, making the PowerPoint run and making sure that we got those questions when they came in. So thanks to all of you very much for all that you have done to make this seminar a success. Next slide. I just want to finish off by saying thank you again. We look forward to seeing you again soon. We do have 2 more seminars coming up this year, and the next one is on assistive technology to help you prevent falls, and our final one is recognize and remove trip hazards at home to make sure that you can quickly and easily get rid of those things that might make you trip or slip in your home. So with that, have a wonderful day, and let's all do our best to stay falls free in ID.